Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 20th of February. Reading through Paul's first letter to the Corinthians as we follow McShane's reading scheme. We read the 7th chapter today. And in verse 20, Paul says, each person should remain in the situation they were in when God called them. He's been speaking about marriage and saying that in a marriage relationship, be faithful to one another and do what is required in the marriage. If you're not married, don't worry about trying to get married, but if you want to do it, there's not a problem. Likewise, if the marriage is ended, don't worry about that. And he then goes on and applies it to other social situations. Were you a slave when you were called? Don't let it trouble you. Although if you can gain your freedom, do so. For the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. Similarly, the one who is free when called is Christ's slave. And as I read that, I thought, fortunately, slavery not so much of an issue today in most societies, but social conformity is. And society would like to shape how we view ourselves. And we so often let that happen and feel we've got to do something to measure up to the world's expectations, to change ourselves and become more acceptable, or use the society's measure of success in our own lives. And Paul, I think, is challenging us and saying, don't let society define you. Let your faith define you. If you think you're a slave, recognize in Christ you're a freed person because everyone is free in Christ. Let that define you. Likewise, if you're not a slave, don't just think I'm a freed person, because every one of us is also a slave to Christ. And so as we go through our lives, let's not bend over backwards and get ourselves excited and exercised over fitting into the world and measuring up to the world standards and letting other people shape us and measure us. Say, let the world think what it likes. We measure ourselves by God's measure, and that's what is important. So as we go through the day, know that we are loved, we are treasured by God, we are his precious possession, we are slaves of Christ, and we're free in Christ. And that is who we are, because that's who God says we are, irrespective of what the people around us might say and think. Be blessed.